Hello there, Steve here in Sydney of the lay hypnosis website, truebluehealer.com. That's where in just 20 minutes you can get takeaway physical repeating evidence that your divine spark has been activated. This will enable you to go down a wonderful yellow brick road journey to find out what you really are. And what you really are is the problem missing from many people's lives today in this very confusing world of mis and disinformation. And with layman's gnosis, you can be guided toward knowledge you need to know for your personal life story. And that's really the only reason you come here, to live a personal life story with certain waypoints and goals to live. And it's a wonderful, exciting thing to have all this laid out for you. I don't want to tell you too much because it's a one-off experience and you can't repeat it, and I will deny you surprises if I tell you too much. Okay. I want to talk today about combating Marxism with what seems to me to be a very practical suggestion, and it's likely that keyboard warriors like your good self could campaign for it all over the world if we started a petition and do all that stuff. Write to our local MPs and even put it to some political party, renegade political parties, and it really goes like this. People learn Marxism in a philosophy course at the university. The intent of the philosophy course is to get people to be able to wrestle with intangibles, all kinds of exotic isms, so that you don't come out a complete materialist nerd by learning engineering, medicine or science. So basically you can hold up your end of a conversation at parties while you're half drunk, you see. That's the theory of teaching people philosophical isms in a compulsory course, which is supposed to knock the sharp corners off you and make you more socially acceptable. They're really doing you a favour. Now, in these philosophy courses, which are greatly made fun of by the Monty Python people, I'm just putting everyone on the same page here. There's all sorts of philosophies you never damn well heard of, and you'll be glad to see the back of them once you've written 2 essays on it and you can move on to the next ism. There's logical positivism, existentialism, transcendentalism, comparative religions. These are all very much about intangibles. And then Marxism is one of them. You can study Marxism as if it's just a philosophy. And that's where I beg to differ. I don't really think Marxism belongs in the philosophy course, but I won't be able to change that. But what I want to do is a simple suggestion that's very, very doable. We're so accustomed to everything we buy today, every appliance, every sewing machine, every power tool, every kitchen gadget comes with safety instructions. How to use it, get the most out of it, and how to ensure it doesn't harm you. It'll have instructions like don't let children use it unsupervised, make sure all the guards are closed before you turn the power on, and do wear safety goggles if necessary, and that sort of stuff. And don't coil the power cord in water, and store it in a dry area, all that sort of stuff. You must be bored to death reading that with all the gadgets you've purchased, okay? And you fully expect this also with medicines, don't you? This medicine can be harmful. If you overdo it, you take it out at the wrong time of the day, or too much of it, or you come off it too quickly. There's always these safety instructions with medicines and all sorts of things we buy in our wonderful consumer-oriented society. Well, I think the Marxism requires a safety warning, a hazard warning at the front of the book. First 5 pages should be made into a hazard warning preface where it details the body count of Marxism over a 100-year period, which is about 200 million people, possibly more. Historians can tote this up. This stopped people's natural religious tendencies being triggered with the novelty of Marxism and believing that they have found it. They have found the truth at last. Utopia, I know where it is. I know where it went wrong. And they start singing The Sound of Music, that will last for 1,000 years. I know where utopia is and all that sort of stuff, just because they read one book of Marxism, you see. And there needs to be a warning at the beginning of the book about that, that this is a very dangerous ism to read by itself, to take neat. you need advice, supplementary advice around it, especially in the front of the book about the body count. And it must be examinable, part of the Marxism philosophical course. Are you with me? This would stop a lot of people being carried away and singing The Sound of Music when they've read the last chapter of Karl Marx. And this could prevent a lot of damage to our school kids and lifelong damage to the victim of the religious fervour being triggered by a novelty first reaction. The first reaction to a novelty is often incredibly powerful and very memorable, and it can damage you for life. You can become a lifelong communist because you think you know better, you're so smart. And so, in the compulsory preface to every book on Marxism, I would also make you turn over a page and have an MP3 player, like a musical greeting card, with Jordan Peterson yelling at you like this. So every time you open the book, you get Drill Sergeant Jordan Peterson yelling at you about Marxism, and you think you know everything. Okay? I really do think people need books that yell at them. Here he is in full song.
And then when the Marxists say, well, that wasn't real Marxism, what it really means, and I've thought about this for a long time, it's the most arrogant possible statement anyone could ever make. It means, if I would have been in Stalin's position, I would have ushered in the damn utopia instead of the genocidal massacres, because I understand the doctrine of Marxism and everything about me is good. It's like, well, think again, sunshine. You don't understand it. You don't understand it. And you're not that good. And if the power was in your hands, assuming you had the competence, which you don't, you wouldn't have done any better. And even if you had, there would have been someone else waiting right behind you to shoot you the first time you actually tried to do anything good. And that's what happened to all the old guard who ran the damn revolution. Stalin rounded them all up and shot them, along with their families and millions of other people. So even if you do happen to be that avatar of moral purity that you claim implicitly, the probability that you'd get to act out your goodness in relationship to those possessed by your ideology is zero.
So there we have Jordan Peterson at his best. Basically, he can be avatared everywhere, even in books, MP3 players, even video players. I would like to see an advertising campaign against Marxism, but I don't know who would pay for it. And to my utter surprise, it hasn't been taken up by any conservative parties in the Western world. A firm anti-Marxist message to keep Marxist school teachers who are naively possessed by Marxism with their natural religious tendencies away from our little children. So I think it would be very easy to put a compulsory preface in every Marxist book. Now, I do know that the Zionist publishing empire would not do it. Absolutely no way, Jose. They like Marxism. They invented it. Academics at university would pretend to be deaf if they were legally directed to do it. They would do passive aggression, passive resistance, that sort of thing. We're all deaf today. We're all blind. We can't read the directive from the government. So it would have to be some kind of an insert. It would have to go in the curriculum as part of the examination. When you learn Marxism, first of all, write a one-page essay or a two-page essay on the body count of Marxism in the last 100 years. And then, once you've read that, you can then read Marxism. It seems to me to be the most destructive ism you can learn when it gets into some people's heads. All the other isms you can learn: Buddhism, existentialism, transcendentalism. There's a zillion isms you can learn: Hinduism, Zoroastrianism, Catholicism. They're all wonderfully harmless things. But I think Marxism has got such a body count to its credit that we seriously need a hazard warning at the front of every book, just like we expect from appliances. Now, I'd like you to tell me what you think about this idea and put it under this video. Tell me what you think. Is this doable? Could we get our local politicians to start going around the world doing it? How could we do this? It doesn't seem too much to ask.